Are you ready to get energized? It is John Tostanowski here, and we're coming to you live from SolarCon 2025. We have a special show for you today. It is the Power Hour Meeting Minutes podcast, a shortened version of our traditional Power Hour. And today I have a special guest with me, Mr. Matt Smith from Sunlight Financial.
Matt, here.
How are you?
Pretty good.
Awesome
Conference so far.
Yeah, it's going really well.
Yeah.
I want to kind of just talk about a couple things today. We're having a good show so far, and I just want to talk about Sunlight Financial. But before that, how's the show going for you?
It's been going really good. I mean, I've got a chance to meet a ton of partners. Went down to the Bellagio last night, which was fun.
Okay. Did you come up positive or negative?
I actually did not bet a single poker chip last night.
Okay, like a true banker.
Yep. Nope. I just watched, but no, it's been great. I mean, we've seen a ton of partners, close a bunch of deals, learned a ton. I mean, I got to obviously meet you guys and see what you guys are doing, which has been great. So yeah, it's been pretty awesome.
Yeah, I appreciate you being on the show with us, because obviously the first time that we got connected in person was yesterday.
Yep.
I know that we have this awesome relationship that we're building out with Sunlight Financial, as we're on your approved vendors list.
Yep.
And we're grateful for that. But you know, it's kind of crazy because at these shows you can build these relationships in an instant that last like your entire career.
Yep.
So it's really cool. Why don't you talk to us a little bit about Sunlight Financial?
Yeah. So, been in the industry. I've been in the industry for about 10 years. I've been at Sunlight for 6. We were founded in 2014.
Okay.
We've helped over half a million homeowners go solar. And it's been a journey. We have a full spectrum, lending solution. So you think about the number one barrier for selling solar is, getting a job funded, or selling a battery is getting the job funded. And we kind of think about ourselves as being in the trust business. We, sales reps trust us. That last part, the most important part of the sale, they get the yes. Then now it's time to talk money. They come to us. They can get a deal, approved in 30 seconds, and they're kind of off to the races and getting it installed. So really, we kind of think about ourselves as an innovator in the space. We brought a lot of new things to market. I know we're going to talk a little about the 25-year battery stuff, but we kind of think about ourselves as a market leader and a market innovator, and always trying to challenge what's out in the market today, and kind of push the industry forward.
Yeah, absolutely, man. It's the Sunlight solution set and like the financial packages that you guys offer to be able to make solar truly affordable for homeowners and make a lot of sense. There's a lot of other offerings in the market. Some of them are really good. Some of them, I have maybe a differing opinion on, and I'll be very transparent about that.
Yep.
But with that said, I've always liked the Sunlight packages that you guys have. I came from the installation space, and before I joined EG4, I was running operations at an installer, and I used to sell and use a lot of your financial tools.
Yep.
And I love the fact that you guys are very transparent. Mm-hmm. You have these multiple ream or reamortization schedules to make it affordable for the homeowner, and not really penalize them in any type of way. You're not doing traditional banking. You're doing banking that's very customer focused to make them, to make it palatable for them to go forward with a green energy transition.
Yeah. I mean, I think, I've been in the industry for a while, and one, the customer is always most important. And our focus is we want it to be as simple as possible for the sales rep, and really want it to be as simple as possible for the homeowner, right? It is easier to sell solar if a homeowner can buy it easily, right?
Yeah.
And a sales rep will go through, hours of docking, right? 2-hour presentation. They get to that final spot where, you got to write a check, and our job is to try to make that process as easy as possible. And we really do. So not just from the sales side, but also on the back end, right? It doesn't really matter if it's easier for the homeowner, if it's a pain in the butt for the installer to submit milestones, or they can't get their account manager on the phone, or takes 10 minutes to get on the support line, right? Our focus is we want it to be simple for the sales rep, simple for the homeowner, and simple for the installer. And we've done a ton of work over the years to make that happen.
Yeah, absolutely. And you guys have, I will compliment you guys. You guys have always had account managers, at least like when I was a customer of yours, you had account managers that were always really responsive.
Yep.
And,
We'll pick up the phone at like 9 p.m. on a Friday sometimes. Not every time, but most of the time.
Yeah. I mean, hey, that's sales, that's business, right? I do want to talk about like all of the crazy things that we've seen in the industry in terms of lending, financial packages, and just these different solutions that are out there to change the landscape of the transaction process in residential solar. There's a lot of different things that we've seen with stuff like PPAs and leases and third-party ownership. I've always been an advocate for both when the solution is right. But you guys have a pretty unique package right now that is a newer product called the Sunsaver product. If you don't mind, can you kind of walk us through that? I see it as an incredibly attractive option.
Yeah, so I think the company kind of started working on this about 9-10 months ago. We launched it about 4 months ago, slowly, right? Kind of got it slowly out there. But effectively what we said is, hey, 90% of the market today kind of moved towards leasing. Why is that, right? And the reality is the barrier of entry was too high, right? Loans were too expensive. Dealer fees kind of went through the roof, right? With interest rates going up. And leasing became the primary option for people to go solar. But it's not really the most advantageous way to go solar, right? You give up ownership. You're giving up all the benefits of all the incentives. You're kind of stuck in a contract for 25 years and who knows what's going to happen at the end of it. So we said, hey, there's this unique problem. People want to go back to selling loans. They want to give ownership. We want to increase the value of solar. So we developed a product called Sunsaver. And essentially what we did is we took that loan product that's traditionally flat and we tilted it. We front loaded the savings and it's about a 15 to 20% lower payment for the homeowner, which obviously, right, lower payment, a higher chance of getting the sale.
Yeah.
And it mimics what sales reps are already selling today with a 2.9% escalator. What it also does is it gives the ability to add battery, to add roof, to do all the trenching and all the other things that need to go along with a solar sale. And really, it enables sales reps and homeowners to get the system that the homeowner needs and is designed for them, not what's designed for the TPO provider. And that's really what we've seen today. Yeah. And look, TPO will always have a place in the industry, but we feel like ownership is really more beneficial.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. It actually just hit me. Yeah. So a lot of times, like when you run into, let's say like I used to sell solar door to door before I went to do more operations and installation. But I remember, I live in Texas, right? And where I live is like kind of, it's in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, but I can very easily get to some of the rural areas. So I used to knock doors and, basically sell solar the right way. Yep. I feel very confident that there's the right way to do it and the wrong way to do it, the ethical way, right? Yep. And that's why I always leaned on a product that provided the sense of ownership and true ownership. But with that said, I used to go out and hit areas that had a high potential for a ground mount install.
Yep.
You mentioned trenching.
Yep.
Where am I going with this? How do I wrap this all together? Well, what I'm saying is, a lot of times when you need to do that with certain lending options, there's no way for you to add into the cost of your package to the homeowner the needs of trenching or ground mount, whatever it is, all that other stuff. But if you package it in the Sunsaver option that you guys have,
that's all able to be in there. Yep.
It's still like a traditional loan, right? Yep. That is palatable for the homeowner. It makes sense for them, and they still own it.
And also the other thing is you can't do that on a lease today in most options.
Yeah.
Or in most situations, they don't really want a super expensive pergola with solar on it, right? Or they don't want to have to do 100 foot of trenching because it just doesn't make sense for their business model. But our goal is let's make it as easy as possible for people to buy solar, and part of that is making it to where our lending product can actually finance what they're trying to do or what's best for them. And we feel like we have a competitive advantage in the market because of that.
That's cool, man.
Yeah.
I love that stuff. I love it.
The other thing I would add too, and I know we're going to get to it, is Sunsaver is the big product now, but now it's the battery only.
Battery only.
Right? So we've seen, I think, probably a 30-40% increase in the need for battery only products. You guys are one of the only products out there that we can use or you guys can, any installer can use our 25-year battery only loan, and that changes the whole paradigm around the value for battery. You can go to a homeowner and say, hey, for less than $100 a month, you can get a battery backup at your house. That you've never been able to say that ever in the battery space. So I think that's kind of a paradigm shift. And what you've seen is installers that have thousands of homeowners that they've sold, going back and farming all of those for additional revenue, and increasing the value prop of the solar that they were already sold. So
that's actually a huge value proposition for us personally. Is one of the core reasons why EG4 has gained market share in such a phenomenal way over the course of the last few years is a lot of installers that, and rightfully so, and I face this head on, they're using another product before they start to use us. A great way for them to at least investigate our solution is to get them to try our solution as a retrofit battery solution and add on to an existing solar system. What we usually see from there is that they like our solution. We're happy that they do. We want to continue to support our customers in doing so, but they like our solution. And then from there, they transition to using this across all of their installs with new solar and the battery and our FlexBoss 21 inverter or whatever it may be. But they start sometimes, in a lot of cases, they start by using it as a retrofit AC coupled solar solution where you have existing solar on a roof and someone now needs a battery. And a lot of times, just to kind of like walk this whole situation back about why the battery only loan option that you offer is so instrumental and can provide a ton of value to installers and to sales orgs alike, is one, net metering has gone away in pretty much every state with the exception of a handful of a few. Like, there's only a few states that still have a favorable net metering agreement. And so for the audience out there, I'll kind of like dissect this a little further. Back in the day, and back in the day means not that long ago.
A couple years ago.
Right? A couple of years ago, everyone in a lot of different states was basically on this program that was either state sanctioned or utility sanctioned, that said, if you have a solar system on your home, any excess energy that system generates will be, if you don't use it, right, it will go back to the grid, and the grid's going to use it. And basically that exact amount of energy that you sent back to the grid, we will credit you at a dollar for dollar, 1-for-1 ratio. Well, what happened is that is not a favorable solution for the grid.
Lost revenue.
Right, exactly. It's not a favorable solution for the grid, right? Because they have all of this excess energy that's being generated that they're now having to pay for, and they're running a business, right? And I'm a grid skeptic, right? So I'm gonna sit here and tell you, hey, they can be greedy, right? The utility grid wants to get all that they can get. We want to be good partners with the grid, right? But they're running a business. And with that said, all of those programs went away, right? Because it doesn't make sense for them to give you that dollar for dollar credit. Now you have a lot of solar systems that have no battery. So meaning that excess energy, it goes back to the grid and there's nowhere for it to be stored. So people are being left with, in states like California and Texas, especially California, Texas, Arizona. Now I'm seeing it in Illinois. Illinois has hugely impacted by this. The moment that someone moves out of their house that was on that 1-to-1 net metering agreement in Illinois, it's gone. So that means the new homeowner is sitting there like saying, hey, I have solar. I thought I was not going to get a bill. No, you still are.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what's my solution? Well, your bill right now is $150 a month. You know, it's better than if you didn't have solar, but what we can do is we can add one grid bus from EG4, one flex bus, and one battery. And now you're, you know, ballpark, I'm just estimating here, right? But like usually on the 25-year battery loan, it's like $80, $90
It's like 80
a month.
bucks a month, yeah.
$80 a month.
$80 a month for a battery solution is unheard of.
Yeah.
Like I wish I had that when I was selling years ago.
And now you've completely eliminated the bill.
Yep.
And it's way better than that 150 or whatever they're paying.
Yeah.
So you've completely eliminated the bill. You're able to add this in as a retrofit solution set and, you know, combine it with this amazing package that Sunlight Financial offers. It's a win-win for the homeowner, for the sales rep, for the installer, and for all parties.
And the industry.
For
right?
the industry.
Like I think the more that we see a growth in battery, you know, the big push right now is this is really the shift to electrification, American energy dominance, right? That's really going to be powered by storage more than anything. And without a solution like this, it leaves all those homeowners kind of hanging out to dry. And that's where like you guys come in and can provide a solution that's really competitively priced. Like it's actually not bad, right?
Yeah.
It's not having to write a check for $35,000 like it was, you know, 4 or 5 years ago when I was selling, right? It's palatable. The barrier of entry is low enough. And the homeowners not just getting the arbitrage situation, right? They're not actually getting those old school benefits, but they're also having, you know, whole house backup or partial backup for the home. And that's something that people want, but it was kind of out of reach.
Yeah.
And you know, with our product, with your product, kind of changes that.
Yeah. No, I couldn't agree more. Well, yeah. I mean, I'm glad we were able to touch on those things.
Yeah.
You know, Matt, any last thoughts?
No, I mean, I'm glad that this is kind of the, you know, I know we've been working together a little bit recently. I hope that this continues. I think you guys have an awesome product. I've been sending people over here a ton, and yeah, we're glad to keep things going with you guys.
Awesome, man. Happy to have you on the show here on the Power Hour Meeting Minutes. Again, this is Matt with Sunlight Financial. I'm your host, John Tostanowski, and we encourage you to power more with EG4, true whole home backup.